Do you have any tips or tools for managing stress and anxiety at work?
Oh, big question. There's so much in that, because it's what sort of stress are you experiencing? Is it short-term stress? Is it long-term stress? So I might give you a couple of tools for each sort of what I see as each version of stress. So if you're during your work day, let's say you're during your work day and you're doing some really intensive, cognitive, busy, draining work, and you notice you're getting into a bit of a manic state, or even if you're like having to sort of, manage multiple meetings and communications. So immediately you're getting into your fight or flight. Yeah. Even if you're not aware of it, it might just feel like a slight mania. It might actually feel quite good to begin with. But as soon as you're in fight or flight, you're releasing adrenaline and cortisol. So the task is to do something that's going to get you out of fight or flight and into rest and digest, or your parasympathetic nervous system. So a couple of tips for how to do that. One is one that you've probably would have heard before, which is a couple of rounds of breathing. I'm a big fan of the 4-7-8. So a lot of studies on this being one of the most effective ways of switching that parasympathetic nervous system on. So we could do a couple of rounds here. So you breathe in through the nose for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7. And then out for 8, but make a little noise. As you exhale through the mouth. So you really want to sigh. In for 4. Hold for 7. And exhaling and making a little noise for 8. So if you find that you were struggling to hold for that 7 at the top, that is saying that you're already in fight or flight. And it's the exhale that really engages the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's just a little tool you can take away. I think it's 4 rounds that you have to do to actually wash some of that cortisol out of your system. Another really interesting one that I've just been reading about lately is actually using vision. So what we don't realize is our eyes are actually part of our brain. So we can direct our brain according to where we're looking. So if we want our brain to chill out and get sort of more into that parasympathetic sort of system, a good technique is to look as far as you can look off into the horizon. If anyone's got a view there, or out the window, as far as you can look. And as you're looking, really soften your gaze. So really soften and broaden your gaze. It's almost like you're looking in panorama. So do that for good. This treatment came out of, they use this for treating PTSD, but they found anyone who's stressed, it works really well with. So I've got a lot of clients doing this who rave about it. And it's something you can do even if you're sitting in a meeting. You're starting to feel the stress come up. You just get the panoramic vision going. Then there's a different type of stress that might be happening in your day, and that's where your mind is just whirling and whirling and whirling, and it might be getting into a negative space. So you might be procrastinating, you might be ruminating, catastrophizing, one of those lovely pursuits. And you want to get out of that, but your brain just won't stop. So a good way of short-circuiting, the way the brain is wired, your thinking brain and your sensing brain can't be on at the same time. So a really good way of short-circuiting that is to do what I call a quick little sensory circuit. So we could do one of them here now as well. So if you're wherever you are, look around the room for 10 seconds and find every shade of green that you can possibly see. Green cushion bookcases are good for this. So really looking for every shade of green. Then closing your eyes, and this time listening in for all the different sounds you don't normally hear, and listening in to all those layers. So close your eyes and see how many you can come up with. And finally, just bringing your focus to your toes and feeling your toes up against the texture of whatever you've got on your feet, the floor, slippers, Ugg boots, whatever it is. So feeling each little toe, not the toes en masse, but each little toe. Great. So what was that like doing that exercise? What did you notice anything?
I realized how many shades of green I had in my room.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So it's just sticky enough. You've got to do anything just sticky enough and just short enough. When you're super stressed, trying to meditate. I don't know if you've tried it, but for me, it doesn't work. For a lot of people, it doesn't work because you just sit there and your head just goes round and round and round when you're sitting there. Whereas this is just a nice little short way, you know, and if you do it regularly during the day, it actually helps you maintain better levels of focus, accuracy, productivity. So it's a really good little one. I normally hook it onto the end of every meeting as a reminder. And it helps me transition between the meetings as well. So, yeah, they're my little tips.
So good. Where were you last night at 8 p.m. when my daughter was having a breakdown because the solar system project is due tomorrow? And we could have just done, you know, let's have a look at how many shades of green there are in the room. Yeah.
Oh, the only other one I'll give you is if you've had long-term stress, which let's face it, we all have, if you've lived on this planet for the last couple of years, the best antidote is just spending time with people you like, that like you, you know. So yeah, much more social contact is going to help us all feel better from what we've been through.